Dear Starseeds on Gaia, something unprecedented is unfolding on October 23rd, and the reason this transmission has found its way to you is not a coincidence. While millions move through their routines unaware, a specific frequency signature is being broadcast across the quantum field, and your consciousness has been identified as a receiver. Not everyone can hear this, not everyone is meant to. But you are here, and that alone reveals something profound about the work you have been doing in silence, in the hidden chambers of your own becoming. I am Zarin from the Lyran High Council, and I speak to you, Meow, not from above, but from within the same field of transformation that is preparing to sweep through your reality. We do not observe from a distance. We exist in the spaces between your breaths, in the pauses where your true self remembers what your human conditioning has forgotten. And what I must tell you is that the cosmic architecture of October 23rd has been designed specifically for those who have done the deep work, the uncomfortable work, the work that happens in rooms no one else can enter. What I am about to share with you will challenge everything you thought you understood about spiritual growth, about healing, and about the nature of discovery itself. Because on this particular day, as Jupiter completes its square to Chiron while the Sun opposes Pluto, you are not simply experiencing another astrological transit. You are being found, you are being seen. And for those who have spent lifetimes learning to hide their light, learning to move through the world undetected, because detection once meant danger, this sensation of being discovered may be the most terrifying and exhilarating experience you have encountered in this incarnation. The timing of this message is precise because the window is narrow. Jupiter, the planet of expansion and faith, is locked in tension with Chiron, the wounded healer, at the exact moment when Mercury forms a supportive trine to Jupiter. This is not random. This is not another transit to add to your spiritual calendar and forget. This is the moment when the maze you have been navigating, all those twisting corridors of self-discovery and shadow integration, suddenly reveals that someone has been watching you the entire time. Not with judgment, but with recognition. Not with criticism, but with the kind of love that says, I see you doing the impossible work, and I am here to tell you that you are ready for what comes next. But first, let me tell you about the 3 impossible things that are about to happen on this day, and why most of humanity will experience none of them. The first impossibility is that your deepest wound, the one you have carried across multiple timelines, the one that made you feel abandoned or unprotected in ways that still echo in your adult relationships, is going to become your greatest gift. The Jupiter-Chiron square is opening a portal where pain transmutes into purpose, not through denial or spiritual bypassing, but through the alchemy of being fully witnessed in your vulnerability. The second impossibility is that your confidence, which may feel shattered or uncertain, right meow, is going to return rebuilt on an entirely new foundation. Not the confidence of ego or achievement, but the unshakable knowing that comes from having walked through your own underworld and emerged holding your younger self's hand. The third impossibility is that you are going to understand, perhaps for the first time in this lifetime, why you chose the specific challenges you did, why you attracted the exact people and experiences that broke you open, and why all of it was necessary for the frequency you are capable of holding. Most people will miss this. They will feel the energy as confusion or anxiety. They will blame Mercury for communication issues or Mars for relationship tensions. They will not recognize that the discomfort is the doorbell and discovery is on the other side. But you are different. You have been preparing for this without knowing it. Or every time you chose to sit with your pain instead of numbing it, every time you questioned your purpose and kept walking anyway, every time you felt like you were starting over from scratch in your healing journey, you were actually building the capacity to receive what October 23rd is delivering. The cosmic architecture of this day holds a paradox that only the spiritually mature can navigate. On one hand, the Jupiter-Chiron square is asking you to confront the places where your faith has been wounded, where you stopped believing in your own worthiness or the benevolence of the universe. This is uncomfortable territory. It brings up the why me questions, the moments when you felt cosmically abandoned, the times when your spiritual practice felt like shouting into a void. But simultaneously, Mercury's trine to Jupiter is providing the language, the insight, the sudden clarity that allows you to reframe every single painful experience as intentional soul curriculum. This is not toxic positivity, this is quantum perspective. It is the ability to hold two truths at once. Yes, you suffered, and yes, it served your evolution in ways that are only meow becoming visible. What makes October 23rd so powerful is that it is occurring within a larger framework of humanity's shift from third-dimensional survival consciousness to fifth-dimensional unity consciousness. The Sun's square to Pluto on this same day is not coincidental. Pluto represents the underworld, the shadow, the parts of collective and personal consciousness that we have repressed or denied. When the Sun, our core identity and life force, forms a challenging aspect to Pluto, we are being asked to bring light into the deepest darkness. But here is what most spiritual teachings miss. This is not about eradicating the darkness. It is about discovering what has been hiding there, waiting to be found. Your rage, your grief, your unmet needs, your wild, untamed power that you learned to suppress because the world told you it was too much. For those of you who resonate with the concept of being starseeds or light workers, October 23rd marks a threshold moment in your mission. You did not incarnate on Earth during this particular era by accident. You came with specific coding in your energetic DNA, certain frequency signatures that would activate during precise cosmic windows. This is one of those windows, but it only opens for those who have done the prerequisite work. You cannot skip the healing and jump straight to the mission. You cannot bypass your humanity in pursuit of your divinity. And many of you have learned this the hard way, which is precisely why this message is finding you, meow. You have earned your way to this threshold, not through perfection, but through persistence, not through avoiding your wounds, but through developing the courage to let them be seen. The moon's movement through Scorpio on October 23rd, forming conjunctions with Mars and Mercury before entering Sagittarius in the evening, creates an emotional intensity that will feel overwhelming for those who are not grounded in their bodies. Scorpio energy does not do superficial. It demands total honesty, complete vulnerability, and the willingness to die to who you were so you can become who you are meant to be. Mars in Scorpio amplifies this transformative power, giving you the courage and the raw energy needed to face what you have been avoiding. Mercury in Scorpio sharpens your psychological insight, allowing you to see through illusions, including the ones you have told yourself about your limitations or your brokenness. But something else is happening that I have not told you yet. The water sign emphasis on this day, with planets concentrated in Scorpio and the moon's trine to Jupiter in Cancer, is creating an oceanic field of emotional intelligence and psychic sensitivity. If you are an empath, if you are someone who feels everything, if you have spent your life trying to manage the overwhelm of collective emotions bleeding into your personal experience, October 23rd is both a challenge and an initiation. The challenge is that the emotional intensity will be amplified. You will feel the fear, the grief, the rage of the collective more acutely than usual. But the initiation is that you will finally understand how to alchemize these emotions instead of being drowned by them. You will learn in real time how to stay connected to compassion without absorbing density, how to hold space for pain without making it your identity, how to be a lighthouse in the storm instead of another boat capsizing in the waves. I need you to understand something crucial about discovery. When you are being discovered, as you are on October 23rd, it is not a passive experience. Discovery is not something done to you, it is something you participate in. For so long you have existed in a maze of your own construction, intricate corridors of defense mechanisms and coping strategies and masks that helped you survive. You became a master at hiding, not necessarily from others, but from the full truth of who you are. And you hid for good reasons. You hid because being fully visible once meant being hurt. You hid because your gifts threatened people. You hid because you learned that your intensity, your depth, your complexity made others uncomfortable. But meow, the glass walls of your maze are becoming visible. You can see the room where your younger self has been waiting, the part of you that felt abandoned and alone, the part that never stopped asking, why me? This is the part of your consciousness that Jupiter and Chiron are illuminating. And what is being revealed is that you were never meant to rescue that inner child by yourself. You were meant to become the person capable of entering that room with unconditional love. Every challenge you faced, every betrayal you survived, every time you chose healing over numbing, you were constructing the version of yourself that could finally unlock that door. The discovery happening on October 23rd is multidimensional. On the personal level, you are discovering parts of yourself that have been in hibernation, waiting for your consciousness to mature enough to integrate them. These might be creative gifts you suppressed because they did not seem practical. They might be leadership qualities you hid because you were taught that power corrupts. They might be psychic abilities you shut down because they overwhelmed your nervous system. The cosmic configuration of this day is creating a permission field, a moment when the universe itself is saying, it is safe, meow. It is time, meow. You are ready, meow. On the collective level, you are being discovered by others who vibrate at your frequency. This is why October 23rd may bring unexpected connections, sudden recognition from people whose opinions matter to you, or opportunities that seem to come out of meowware. But these are not accidents. You have been broadcasting a signal through your commitment to your own evolution, and that signal has been received. The people, circumstances, and opportunities arriving meowware are in resonance with who you have become, not who you used to be. This is why it may feel slightly surreal or undeserved. You are meeting a reality that matches your internal transformation, and there is always a lag between inner shift and outer reflection. On the cosmic level, you are being discovered by the galactic councils and guides who have been waiting for you to reach this level of consciousness. We do not interfere with free will. We do not accelerate anyone's journey beyond what their soul has chosen. But when a human consciousness reaches certain thresholds, when they demonstrate through their choices and their commitment that they are ready for expanded awareness and greater responsibility, we take notice. October 23rd is one of those threshold moments for many of you. It is when your spiritual resume, built through years of silent work and private transformation, becomes visible on frequencies beyond the third dimension. What I am about to share changes everything you thought you knew about suffering and purpose. The wounds you carry, especially the ones related to abandonment, betrayal, or feeling unseen, are not random. They are not punishment. They are not evidence that you did something wrong in a past life. They are strategic placements of sensitivity that allow you to develop certain capacities. Think of them as specialized sensors that could only be installed through direct experience of what it feels like to be hurt in that particular way. When you know intimately what it feels like to be abandoned, you develop an almost supernatural ability to recognize when others are feeling that way. You can sense it in the silence between their words. You can feel it in their energy before they even know it themselves. This is not compensation for your pain. This is the purpose of your pain. And October 23rd, with the Jupiter-Chiron square at its peak, is when many of you will finally understand this at a cellular level. You will stop asking why me from a place of victimhood and start asking it from a place of curiosity. Why did my soul choose to experience abandonment so I could become a person who never lets others feel invisible? Why did my soul choose betrayal so I could learn discernment and develop the strength to stand alone when necessary? Why did my soul choose uncertainty so I could build faith that does not require external validation? The Sun square to Pluto on this same day is revealing the shadow side of spiritual seeking itself. Many lightworkers and starseeds fall into a trap of spiritual bypassing, using concepts like everything is love or it is all perfect to avoid dealing with legitimate anger, grief, or rage. October 23rd is stripping away that false light. It is asking you to be honest about where you are still carrying vindictiveness, where you are still harboring resentments, where you are still blaming others for your circumstances. But here is the gift: Pluto does not reveal shadow to shame you. Pluto reveals shadow to empower you. When you can acknowledge your rage, your jealousy, your pettiness, you reclaim the energy that was trapped in pretending those things do not exist, and that reclaimed energy becomes rocket fuel for your transformation. The challenge many of you will face on October 23rd is that the intensity of the energy may trigger old patterns of wanting to shut down or disappear. When you feel too seen, too exposed, too vulnerable, the instinct might be to retreat back into your maze, to put the walls back up, to make yourself smaller again. This is where the moon's opposition to Uranus, which sets up later in the evening, becomes significant. Uranus represents breakthrough, revolution, the lightning bolt that shatters crystallized patterns. The opposition means tension, but it also means choice. You can choose to break through or break down. You can choose to let this discovery propel you forward or send you running backward. Let me be clear about what navigating October 23rd requires from you. It requires you to stay in your body even when the energy feels overwhelming. This means conscious breathing, physical movement, touching the earth, drinking water. The water sign emphasis is actually your ally here, because water teaches flow. You do not have to resist the emotions. You do not have to fix anything. You just have to let them move through you like waves, knowing that every wave returns to the ocean eventually. It requires you to practice discernment about whose energy you are feeling. Ask yourself constantly, is this mine, or am I picking up on collective fear, collective grief, collective uncertainty? If it is not yours, you can acknowledge it with compassion and release it. You do not have to carry what does not belong to you. It requires you to trust that being discovered is not the same as being exposed. Discovery is invitation, exposure is violation. What is happening on October 23rd is that you are being invited into greater visibility, greater responsibility, greater impact. And yes, that can feel vulnerable. Yes, that can bring up every fear you have about not being good enough or being too much. But you have been preparing for this. The construction work you have been doing on yourself, all those moments when you felt like you were starting over again, have been building the foundation strong enough to support this level of visibility. The transformation promise of October 23rd is not subtle. You will not emerge from this day the same person who entered it. Something fundamental is shifting in how you perceive yourself, how you understand your past, and how you envision your future. The confidence that returns after this transit is not based on achievement or external validation. It is the confidence that comes from having met yourself in the places you feared most and discovering that you are capable of holding yourself with compassion. It is the confidence that comes from realizing that your wounds have made you wise, not weak. It is the confidence that comes from understanding that you were never broken, just becoming. For those of you who have been waiting for a sign that it is finally your time, that your season is arriving, that the miracles you have been patient for are ready to manifest, October 23rd is delivering that confirmation. But it is delivering it in a form you may not have expected. The miracles are not arriving from the outside, they are emerging from within. The version of you that can create miracles, that can hold higher frequencies, that can be a conduit for divine love and wisdom, has been under construction this whole time. And meow, the construction is complete enough for you to move into your new reality. This is why the message feels different. This is why it carries the energy of slowness and presence rather than urgency and hustle, because you have already done the rushing. You have already done the seeking and searching. October 23rd is about arriving. It is about inhabiting. It is about finally allowing yourself to rest in the knowing that you are exactly where you need to be, exactly who you need to be, and exactly enough as you are in this moment. The moon's shift into Sagittarius in the evening brings a breath of optimism and expansion after the intensity of Scorpio. It is like emerging from a deep-sea dive and taking that first breath of fresh air. Sagittarius reminds you that there is adventure ahead, that the journey continues, that this transformation is not an ending but a beginning. And the opposition to Uranus that follows is setting up dramatic developments for the days ahead. But you will face those developments as a different person than you were before October 23rd. You will face them with the memory of what it felt like to be discovered, to be seen, to be found worthy of the light that has been chasing you all along. I want to speak directly to those of you who have felt like you do not fit, who have always been too much or not enough, who have spent your life as a seeker without feeling like you have found what you were seeking. October 23rd is showing you that what you were seeking was not out there. It was in the room you were afraid to enter, in the part of yourself you thought needed to stay hidden. And the discovery is that when you finally open that door, when you finally merge with your younger self, when you finally understand that the person who was always going to save you is you, everything changes. The frequency you have been trying to reach externally has been inside you the entire time, waiting for you to become stable enough to hold it. This is a message for the people who have made it. And making it does not mean you have arrived at some final destination where everything is easy and enlightened. Making it means you have done the work that most people avoid their entire lives. You have faced your shadow, you have questioned your purpose, you have sat with your pain without numbing it. You have rebuilt yourself so many times that you finally understand you were never the building, you were always the architect. And October 23rd is the moment when the universe looks at your blueprints and says, yes, meow, we can work with this. Meow, we can show you what becomes possible when someone is willing to be this honest, this brave, this committed to their own evolution. The people who will arrive in your life after October 23rd will be in resonance with this new frequency. They will not need you to explain yourself or defend your sensitivity or apologize for your depth. They will recognize you because they have done their own work. They will meet you in that room where your younger self has been waiting because they have learned to enter their own. This is what conscious relationships look like at higher frequencies. This is what soul-level recognition feels like, and it has been waiting for you to become the person who could receive it without self-sabotaging or running away. If you feel like you have an audience watching you, if you feel like there are eyes on you that you cannot see, you are correct. But they are not watching with judgment, they are watching with reverence. The galactic councils, the ascended masters, the ancestors who walked this path before you, they all recognize what you are doing. They know how rare it is for a human consciousness to choose evolution over comfort, transparency over protection, love over fear. You are being discovered by the forces that can actually support you, guide you, and amplify your impact in ways that honor your free will and your unique expression. The glass room they showed you in that initial vision, the one where your younger self has been waiting, is becoming translucent for a reason. You have been able to see that room the whole time, watching yourself from the outside, but you were not ready to enter. October 23rd is creating the conditions for entry. The door is unlocked, the light is on, and the version of you that can walk through that door with unconditional love, with total acceptance, with the kind of compassion that heals across timelines, that version exists, meow. You built it. Through every choice to keep going when you wanted to give up, through every moment you chose honesty over performance, through every time you let yourself be seen even when it was terrifying. This is the faith that October 23rd is asking you to embody. Not faith that everything will work out according to your plans, but faith that you are being guided by something larger than your limited perspective, that your soul knows exactly what it is doing, and that every experience you have lived through has been in service of this moment of discovery. Faith that being found is not dangerous. Faith that visibility does not mean vulnerability to harm, but invitation to connection. Faith that the universe has been conspiring in your favor all along, even when it felt like you were being tested beyond your capacity. There is something else happening beneath the surface of October 23rd that only those with the deepest sensitivity will perceive. The water sign emphasis is not just about emotional intensity, it is about memory. Water holds memory. It It carries imprints from the past, both personal and collective, and on this day the waters of your consciousness are being stirred in ways that will bring ancient memories to the surface. You may find yourself remembering dreams you thought you had forgotten, experiencing déjà vu with unusual frequency, or suddenly understanding patterns in your life that previously seemed random. This is not disorientation. This is your soul's memory banks opening, revealing to you the larger story of why you are here and what you came to accomplish. The moon's conjunction with Mercury in Scorpio is creating a bridge between your conscious awareness and your subconscious knowing, and that bridge is strongest on October 23rd. Pay attention to what surfaces. Pay attention to the thoughts that arrive seemingly out of nowhere, to the sudden insights about relationships or life purpose, to the memories that bubble up without invitation. These are not distractions from your spiritual path. They are breadcrumbs leading you deeper into the truth of who you have always been. What most spiritual teachings will not tell you is that transformation is not linear, and October 23rd is proof of this cosmic truth. You may feel like you are moving backward even as you are moving forward. You may feel like you are losing ground even as you are gaining wisdom. This is because true transformation requires you to spiral back through previous versions of yourself. But each time you spiral back, you are at a higher octave. You are not repeating the same lessons. You are integrating them at deeper levels. The Jupiter-Chiron square is activating this spiral motion in your consciousness, and it may feel disorienting because you thought you had already healed certain wounds, already released certain patterns, already transcended certain limitations. But what is actually happening is that you are being invited to meet those same themes with the wisdom you have gained since the last time you encountered them. The child who felt abandoned is still within you, but you have the resources, the maturity, and the compassion to respond to that child in ways that younger you could not. This is not regression, this is integration at the deepest possible level. The reason this message carries such an unusual energy, the reason it feels like it exists in the astral plane rather than the physical, is because October 23rd is creating a temporary thinning of the veil between dimensions. This is not the same as the traditional October 31st thinning that most people recognize. This is a more personal veil, the one between who you have been and who you are becoming. The sun's square to Pluto is literally dissolving the boundaries between your shadow self and your illuminated self, and in that dissolution, you may experience moments of profound disorientation mixed with moments of absolute clarity. One minute you may feel like you understand everything, like all the pieces of your life suddenly make perfect sense. The next minute you may feel completely lost, uncertain about even the most basic aspects of your identity or purpose. Both of these states are true. Both of these states are necessary. You are not going crazy, you are going quantum. You are learning to hold multiple realities, multiple truths, multiple versions of yourself simultaneously. And this is exactly the kind of consciousness that is required for fifth-dimensional living. For those of you who have been waiting for external validation, for the world to finally recognize your gifts and your work, October 23rd is teaching you something crucial about true spiritual maturity. The discovery that matters most is not being discovered by others, it is discovering yourself. It is recognizing your own worth without needing external mirrors to reflect it back to you. It is knowing your own power without needing others to affirm it. It is trusting your own path without needing validation that you are going in the right direction. The cosmic configuration of this day is designed to show you that you have been seeking externally what you have already achieved internally. The confidence you have been waiting to feel, the clarity you have been praying for, the sense of purpose you have been chasing, all of it already exists within you. The problem is not that these qualities are absent. The problem is that you have been conditioned to believe they need to come from outside yourself, that someone else needs to give you permission to claim them, that you need to wait until you are further along your journey before you can embody them. October 23rd is shattering that conditioning. It is revealing that you are already the person you have been trying to become. You just need to stop waiting for external confirmation and start living from that truth. The Mercury trine to Jupiter that is supporting all of this intense transformation is your lifeline, your cosmic gift, your moment of grace within the chaos. While Jupiter and Chiron are activating wounds and the Sun and Pluto are confronting shadow, Mercury and Jupiter are creating a channel of expanded understanding and optimistic perspective. This is the aspect that allows you to take everything you are experiencing on October 23rd and translate it into wisdom rather than trauma, into insight rather than confusion, into empowerment rather than victimhood. Mercury governs how we think and communicate, and Jupiter governs meaning and faith. When these two planets work together harmoniously, you gain the ability to see the bigger picture even while you are still in the middle of the intensity. You can simultaneously acknowledge your pain and recognize its purpose. You can honor your wounds and understand their gifts. You can feel lost and still trust that you are exactly where you need to be. This aspect is teaching you the language of paradox, the vocabulary of both and, rather than either or. And this language, this ability to hold complexity without needing to resolve it into simple answers, is what will carry you through not just October 23rd, but through the entire phase of transformation that follows. If you need help translating this intensity into wisdom rather than trauma, and holding paradox without collapsing into confusion, Destiny Engine can reprogram your consciousness to see the bigger picture while still in the middle of transformation. We are using the Dark Elite's own weapons against them, taking their declassified consciousness technology that programmed either-or thinking and victimhood patterns and repurposing it to serve your ability to hold complexity and recognize purpose within pain. It generates personalized sequences that help you simultaneously acknowledge your wounds and understand their gifts, feel lost and still trust you are exactly where you need to be. You can start with a $1 trial. The hardest thing you'll have to do is put on headphones, press play, and allow your consciousness to be reprogrammed to translate chaos into wisdom and intensity into empowerment. October 23rd's cosmic gift is here, and the language of both and awaits. Get your Destiny Engine $1 trial meow before this transformation integration window closes. Link in the description. I am Zarin from the Lyran High Council, and I want you to know that we love you. We have watched you navigate impossible circumstances with grace you did not even know you possessed. We have witnessed you choose love when you had every reason to choose fear. We have seen you stumble and rise and stumble again without giving up on yourself or the vision of who you came here to become. And on October 23rd, we are joining with the cosmic forces of Jupiter, Chiron, Pluto, and the luminaries to create a moment when you can finally see yourself the way we see you, whole, powerful, worthy, ready. This message has found you because you are one of the ones who makes it, one of the ones who does the deep work, even when no one is watching, one of the ones who shows up for their own healing with the same dedication they show up for everyone else. And October 23rd is your recognition ceremony, your cosmic graduation, your moment of being discovered by the forces that have been waiting for you to become who you always were. We love you, we are watching over you. And we cannot wait to see what you create from this new foundation of unshakable knowing that you are seen, you are safe, and you are so deeply loved. I am Zarin from the Lyran High Council. Until we speak again, know that you are never alone on this journey. The discovery is just beginning.